What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back in with the Mariners post-game recap. If you are new, hit the sub button. If you're also new, hit the like button. If you've been watching my videos and enjoying them, hit the like button as well. If you just want to support the channel, hit the like button. So I appreciate everyone that does that already. Not going to be a super long one tonight, so let's dive into it. The Mariners do come back somehow and defeat the A's tonight. 2-1. It's their second win in a row. The Mariners improved to 13-16 on the season. It certainly wasn't pretty, but beggars cannot be choosers. I am not in a position right now to be turning away any type of win that this team gets, nor is the team in any type of position to be turning away wins. So we will take it 13-16. Some encouraging things, some discouraging things. I'll talk about both. I'm not going to go super far into the box score. Let's start with the positives. Bryce Miller, fantastic in his MLB debut, was perfect through 5 1/3. Ended up going 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, 1 run, 10 strikeouts, no walks. Phenomenal debut for Bryce Miller. Again, is Oakland the best lineup in the world? No, not even close. They might be, they probably are bottom 3 or 4, but it's still an impressive start, and that's what good pitchers do against bad teams. They pitch well, and Miller was fantastic. Had he gone 6 innings, given up 3 runs, 4 walks, 4 Ks, it might be a little more like, against better teams, that type of stuff isn't gonna fly. But he was really good. The fastball was sharp early when he didn't have his breaking ball working, and then he found the feel for the breaking ball as the game went along, which is good to see, because eventually, if you're just pumping fastballs, major league hitters are going to get you. Miller did a great job adjusting. I thought he pitched fantastic. And I talked about it, in the video with his call-up. Who is the best option to give them Robbie Ray type stuff in this rotation? Not just fill in for a few starts. They're past that. Ray's out for the year. Bryce Miller is going to give them the best chance to have a legitimate weapon in the rotation, and he's off to a great start. A shame they couldn't get him a W, but, it is what it is. On the other side, Mason Miller did not give up a hit through 7 innings. He did walk 4. Listen, there was a lot of frustrations with the Mariners' offense today. Mason Miller is a legitimate pitching prospect. He's good. He's going to, I believe, have a good career. He's a good pitcher. He's got good stuff. This wasn't a no-name with a 6.2 ERA coming to start. Mason Miller has upside. He has potential to be a really good starting pitcher in baseball. So it's not crazy that the Mariners didn't go off on him. But they've got to be better. The offense has got to be better. Now, to their credit, they rallied in the 8th, down 1-0. A.J. Pollock homers off Lovelady, and then Caballero doubles on I'll call that a hustle double. Ty France walks, and then Kelenic with the deep 2-run double. Kelenic had a good game. I think he had a walk, just missed a home run, and then the double to, not 2-run double, the double to score Caballero to essentially win the game. Listen, I think a lot of this game came down to the A's are not good. Like, their bullpen's really bad. Their offense is bad. I don't know. Like I said, Bryce Miller deserves a lot of credit. Kelenic was good today. The Mariners did enough to win. I'm not going to turn down W's from this team. But we're still waiting for this team to kind of play a little bit better ball. I didn't think they played great tonight. They're fortunate the A's are not good. And I've talked about it before with the team when they were 12, now 13-16. Obviously, games before I said, their schedule's been tough. They've played some really good baseball teams. And I think that's one of the reasons why their record might be not as good as it could be. Now they're playing a bad team, and this is the benefit to playing a bad team. The Mariners didn't play a great baseball game tonight, outside of maybe Bryce Miller and Kelenic. And they found a way to win. So, it goes to show that, yeah, that's what's nice about playing teams like the A's. You don't have to be flawless to get a win against them necessarily. So, in that sense, kudos to the Mariners for getting the W. But the offense needs to get going a little bit. Obviously, no Julio today, second straight game out with the back soreness. When the lineup was first announced, I actually looked at it and I said, this is a pretty decent lineup. You had Julio, Kelenic, France, Gino, Trammell, Teo, and right. Trammell was at DH. Cal, I don't know what the order was. Caballero was starting at second. JP, I'm like, okay, that's a decent lineup. Like, that's doable. And then Julio gets scratched, and you're like, man, this lineup looks bad all of a sudden. You go through and you go, it's amazing how taking one person out can just change the process of that lineup. But yeah, they need Julio back, need him in there healthy because that's going to help extend that lineup. We were really close to, I think, getting the perfect Mariners lineup, at least for what they can roll out there today, if Julio would have been in there. Tommy La Stella was DFA'd to make room for Bryce Miller. Not super shocking there. Problem for La Stella was not only was he not hitting very well, he has no position to play. He's essentially a pinch hitter without a position, so he can't even come in as a defensive replacement. When you can't do that, you're not going to last very long on the roster. Honestly, guys like Haggerty are swinging worse bats than La Stella is, but Haggerty can run, he can play the field. He's going to stick around more than a guy like Tommy La Stella is. So just wanted to get that out of the way there. Bullpen did a nice job. Got Spire, Topa, and Seawald all took care of business. Like I said, Bryce Miller was fantastic. The offense was, they drew their walks. I didn't think they were like, it was a tough night because you had the wind blowing in, which takes away the Mariners' ability to hit the home run, their power. They drew some walks. They didn't make a lot of hard contact. It was kind of a tough night to judge. They weren't very good at the bottom line against Mason Miller. And like I said, to their credit, they rallied against the bullpen. The offense is going to have to find a way to get going. Now, the good news is the last couple of games they've won are the games they were losing before. They've now won 2 in a row, games that they would have won last year. I've talked about that a lot in my videos, how they're just not winning the games that they've won the last few years. Now, the last 2 nights, or 2 games, they are winning games they would have won in the past. So that's good to see, starting to get that to come back a little bit. They get a 1-run win, which improves the record to 4-9. Just want to say something, too, and I've made points that 1-run games can come down to a lot of luck and stuff like that. And the A's are a perfect example of that. Coming into tonight, they were 5-6 in 1-run games, 6-23 overall. So that's kind of a good example of how 1-run games can be luck. The A's record in 1-run games is pretty average. It's about what we expect from most teams, and their bullpen is 30th in baseball in WAR. It's terrible. So, and the Mariners, were 3-9 in 1-run games. The Mariners are better than the A's. Even if you don't think the Mariners are going to be good, they're better than the A's, and they have the worst one-run game record. So a lot of that does still come down to luck sometimes in those games, and I think that's a perfect example. Like Jared Kelenic has said, fantastic. He crushed a ball that just missed the home run, had that double. That was great to see. Good for the team for rallying. I think that is a key. I think that's where Scott's done a good job. These guys aren't giving up on anything. They fought back. Good to see A.J. Pollock against a lefty homer. I mentioned the homer, didn't really talk about it. That's good to see. They need to get that going. A.J. Pollock's someone they really need to heat up, because if they could get kind of a Trammell-Pollock platoon going, that would be huge for the team. So really good to see that. Like I said, good to see the rally. The bullpen did a nice job closing it down. We can't critique wins too much in baseball. There's 162 games. If you assume you're going to win a certain amount, some are going to be kind of ugly. I don't know if this one necessarily was ugly either. Like, Bryce Miller was fantastic. It was kind of a weird game because the Mariners were no hit for 7 innings, and it looked like, I think the reason I'm struggling this video is I had a whole rant ready to go for this one, and that's like, oh, they won. Okay, like, it's amazing how it can just flip like that. And I think that's kind of what can happen in 1-0 games. You're just sitting there going, man, this is so frustrating. Then, Pollock homers and Kellick doubles. I'm like, oh my God, okay. Like, they're probably going to win this thing. So, again, where the Mariners are at right now, they just need wins. They got one. Chance tomorrow to get the series, get this thing back to 500 and get it going. Bryce Miller looked legitimate. I know the A's lineup is not great or good or even bad. It's probably awful. But like I said, it wasn't something where he went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs, 4 walks, 4 Ks, and you're like, he battled through it. He looked dominant. He looked really good. So I think Bryce Miller may be the answer for the Mariners. It'd be great if they get 3 years in a row of having, a young pitcher come up and make a huge impact. Gilbert 2 years ago, Kirby last year. And hopefully Bryce Miller is the guy this year. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. A nice win for the Mariners. They needed it. They absolutely need to get the W. Take the win. Deep breath. You know, they pulled one out that maybe they shouldn't have here. And listen, in terms of being positive, some people are going to tell you, oh, it's the A's. They're not going to be able to win games like this against other teams. Well, one, they did just win a game like this against the Blue Jays the other day, just with a lot of runs and not the pitching. And, that's why the A's are bad. You need to get those wins against those teams. That's kind of the whole point of it, of the A's being bad, is that you can hang around, and if you're down 1-0, you're going to have a chance to get back in it. So let's hope they can get a series win tomorrow. Hit the like button, hit the sub button. Sorry this video wasn't super in depth. I got to get up early tomorrow, so I'm not exactly just not able to get a ton of stuff down for this one. Bryce Miller is the main takeaway from this one, so hopefully he's here to stay. Hit like, hit sub, go Mariners, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the post-game recap. Take care, and I hope everybody has a great day. Peace.